What up, world? What up, media? What up, YouTube? Good morning to you. I am Drewize. This is Drewize Topics. What up, YouTube? I want to talk about something that my friend, she's an older woman, and we was talking about it, and she said, Dre, why don't you talk about this on your channel? I said I would do that, because I know some of us in the world that deals with this particular problem like I do. I deal with it. And the topic is asthma. And I can explain how to treat asthma far as improvement in breathing and strengthening your lungs and things like that. Okay. Now, I am an example because I deal with asthma, but my asthma, I don't have any problems as far as having asthma attacks and things like that. Now, only when my asthma activates is when I catch a cold, or I'm starting to notice now that if heat builds up in my apartment, I start breathing a little heavy, and I take my inhaler and then it clears it up. That's it. Now, asthma is a lung disease illness. It's a lung disease. And it was said something about asthma, how inflammation flares up in the lungs or something like that. Now, this is true, what I'm about to say, that helps asthma if you're dealing with asthma. Yes. Now, this is a source to help you with your asthma. That is exercise. Exercise. The doctor will tell you what I'm going to say, that it helps asthma is to exercise. He would tell you that. Do you know if you suffer from asthma and you deal with asthma, do you know when you get into lifting weights, when you do cardio, either jog or walk on the treadmill, that helps asthma. It does. It does. Because what you're doing when you lifting weights, and you jogging and you walking on a treadmill, or you just walk period, or you're doing exercise. It strengthens your lungs. It strengthens that, So if you're a person dealing with asthma, if you're dealing with asthma, get into exercise, that strengthens your lungs, it powers your lungs. And as you keep on exercising, and eventually it'll get up here in your mind and say, I don't need to carry this. I don't need to carry this with me all the time. I don't. But I will get refills far as if I catch a cold or something in the climate, the heat or the weather changes, I take it, get a refill, of course. But taking it everywhere you go, out in public, there's no need. There's no need. Because I am an example, I go to that University of Akron track. Now, I jog around that track. I jog around the whole track. And I do like 9 or 11 laps, non-stop. But when I stop, I get exhausted, I get tired, and my body's saying enough is enough. Now, I'm not going like this. I'm not doing nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm not doing nothing like that. You know? I don't need to carry my inhaler. When I go down to that track, I don't need to carry it. You know, I don't. I just walk away from the track as I'm coming home, catch my breath, and I'm fine. You know? So when you do that, exercise. It strengthens your lungs if you're dealing with asthma. You know, it does. It powers your lungs. You know? And that's why science always proves a fact that exercise is a key thing in human health. It's good for us. You know, it's good for our imperfection body. It's good. You know, exercise minimizes certain mental illnesses like depression and stress. You know, it minimizes you getting diabetes and high blood pressure. And it also minimizes someone that deals with asthma, that keeps on coming up with asthma attacks or flare up or activation in asthma or something. It helps with that. Science always talks about exercise, how it's good for people to do. It is. You know, I go jogging, I jog, and I don't carry my inhaler, but just my keys. That's it. My house keys or just my keys. You know, I don't need to carry my inhaler. I just carry my house keys and my cell phone. That's it. And I run all around the University of Akron's track, 9 or 11 laps non-stop. And some of them students, them college students, look at me like, he's still going, he's still going, he's still going. Is he ever gonna stop? They look at me like that, you know? And they wonder like, is he a athlete here or something? I don't tell them this, I just do my thing, you know? And I have asthma, you know? It helps. If it helps me, it can help you. But this is the thing. People get lazy. You like, I don't want to do it. I'm lazy. I don't have the time and things like that. Well, if you suffer from asthma, you have to do something about it. Because if you do this, you do that all the time. That helps. You know, it helps. But you taking it a step further when you get into exercise. You know, I can talk to someone that has exercise, 2 other people or 3 other people that has exercise, and I can ask them, do you carry your inhaler everywhere you go? They gonna say no, I don't need to. I do not need to. And they gonna say only when I have to use my asthma inhaler. You know, they will say, when I catch a cold or weather, that's why I use it. I can go to, like I said, I can go to 2 or 3 other people and say, do you need to carry your inhaler? You know, everywhere you go. They go say no. And I am a proven example as a fact. And wherever I go, either I go to the grocery store, either I go to the doctor's office, either I go get my hair braided, or either I go to my mother's house, I go to some friend's house, I go travel up to Cleveland or wherever I'm going traveling. I don't need to carry my inhaler. You know, I don't need to. That's because I build up and strengthen my lungs. You know, strengthen. Ain't no cure for asthma. It's not a cure. So you stuck with it. until the day you return back to the ground. So eventually they might come up with some type of medication that cures asthma, but it hasn't come up yet. But the step is to help with your asthma that you deal with is exercise, cardio, jogging, jump roping, walking, lifting weights, and things like that. Because as you lift weights, you're breathing in and out, breathing in and out. As you jogging, you're breathing. So think about it. Medicine, it works. Medicine do work to a certain extent. But take the step further into get into exercise. Yeah. Go to your primary care doctor and bring them about something about asthma and exercising. And ask your doctor and say, I have asthma and I'm hearing this and this and that from people saying exercise helps with asthma. He's going to say yes. He's going to say yes, it does. He's going to say it strengthens your lungs and things like that. It helps, And that doctor will say something like, you exercising, okay? How often you carry your inhaler? And you're going to say, I rarely carry it. I just get a refill from you when I need it. Come on. It helps. It does. So I know some children suffer from asthma. They have to wear a breathing machine, but it helps. But you gotta get kids into activities like running and doing little jumping jacks and little push-ups or something, or jump roping. Get them children active so it can help them. Exercise help with asthma, Yeah. I can say it all day long, but you have to take up that fact. Which is true. And science will say it's true, People that's science fitness, they will say that's true. It helps with asthma, exercise. This is not no made up or whatever thought of, but it helps because it helps me. Right now and yesterday, I didn't have to carry my inhaler at all. Didn't have to. Yeah. Drewize Topics. I am Drewize. You can post a comment about what I just said if you'd like to. If you're dealing with asthma, if you are the one that deals with asthma and you exercise and you notice the change as far as you don't have to carry your inhaler and you seen as a fact in yourself that I keep my asthma attacks is at a minimum, my lungs is strengthened because I got into exercise and it helps me. You can post a comment about asthma if you suffer from asthma. Yeah. Drewize Topics, I am Drewize. You have a nice, wonderful, good morning, and pleasant morning today. Peace to you.